Tranche 2, Phase 2. We've heard more from Malcolm MacLeod.
Have we?
I mean, yeah, somewhat. There were a few comments. There were a few comments this afternoon. A few admissions. A few little ones he was forced into. Eveline Lubbers, the Undercover Research Group. What did you pick out of that?
He never wholeheartedly agrees to something, but he has conceded that Bob Lambert was like very, very, very close to the cell that was making incendiary devices. Otherwise, he could never have all that intelligence, like when they could be found at which address,
and the changes,
and the changes,
so many changes. And
there's like sort of. Bob Lambert, they didn't mention that today, but Bob Lambert claimed in one of his reports that he had like a grip on when the next attacks were going to take place, because he was the one who delivered 200 rats to Helen Steele, who lived with Andrew Clark at that point. And Andrew Clark then said, we can't do it until those rats are gone. So those two things together, may as well be that Bob Lambert delivered those, or made, organized for those rats to be delivered. So he had he would know when the next attack was going to take place. That's one. He, at the very last moment, he kind of conceded that Bob Lambert was an agent provocateur, but he said it again in his roundabout way when he was asked, if you look at what Jeff Shepard said, that indeed Lambert was part of the cell.
That whole section, I think Emma Gouge did a very good job pulling out the
inconsistencies.
Yeah, not just the inconsistencies, but pulling out of Malcolm MacLeod the way in which he was aware that the only way that Bob Lambert would have known these things is if he was inside the cell. He kept saying that he didn't know, he can't remember this report, reports that in meetings that he was at, reports that he signed off, he was claiming no knowledge of, claiming it was news to him, and he's like, well, you saw this report, so yes, it would have come across my desk, but I have no memory of it. And it was, after she'd been through all these things with him, and then she said, I just want to go to something in your written statement. And it was, he said that he would only bother Ray Parker with issues of real concern of untoward major events. And the only examples he used was HN4's drink driving, HN4 being Andy Bryant, who infiltrated Class War, who for some reason the inquiry says that is not naming, but we all know who that is. And the other issue being the Debenhams incendiary devices. And it's put to him that, did he have concerns then about Bob Lambert and the incendiary devices?
And he never gave an answer. He kept.
I think he gave a fairly
Did you?
Just picking the bones out of what he actually said.
Good at that.
Just going through the detail of what he actually said. He said that if Bob Lambert did act, then he acted in very, very, very good faith. That his what was the other point he said? I read it just now. That essentially that it was that he had concerns at the time. He didn't discuss them with Ray Parker. That there was no evidence of them, but that essentially that there were concerns. And it was almost as if there was something else that he
wasn't going to say. Yeah. So this you keep getting the impression that there was more to this. He is like him. Did he really not know? And he was also confronted with a statement somewhere that Short, we talked about him before.
David Short was chief superintendent.
Yeah, so he was above him. There was some disagreement with Dave Short, and Short may have said, your man is out of control.
Dave Short is recorded in a minute of a special branch minute as saying, your man is out of control. You've lost him.
Mm-hmm. And he said, if that. He didn't know of it, of course, and if he would have known, yes, he would have been concerned, but he hadn't heard it.
This was in reference to the fact that Bob Lambert told Eric Docker to wait for 2 hours after Andrew Clark and Jeff Shepard entered into the property before the raid went ahead. And it was during this time, apparently, that there was this big disagreement.
Yeah. Yeah, because how, like, I guess Short realized how close Lambert was, that he could know, he knew the exact hour that would be the best to do the
It's notable
race.
that Dave Short had been an undercover officer himself in the 1970s.
Yes, yeah, so it's like, but, like we had one theory that maybe Lambert only told Dave Short and not his managers, but if this disagreement has taken place, then that's less likely, isn't it?
I mean, it's hard to know. Hard to know. I mean, I
yeah.
think what's very clear is that Malcolm MacLeod had concerns at the time about how close Bob Lambert had got to the centre of the ALF cell. He said repeatedly today that he's got to the very centre. He's at the centre of the cell. He's inside a four-man secret meetings of the cell.
But only after he was confronted with, only when he claims he doesn't remember, and he claims he didn't know, and he didn't read stuff. But then, as if to defend himself, he then goes like, yeah, but if he had to, in order to get all that intelligence, I just trusted him that he would do the right thing. He never had, the urge to tell him maybe you're too close.
Oh, that was the point.
Yeah, so it was like very much. It was like, this was the moments where he acknowledged that maybe Lambert had done that. He said that, yeah. So if for that intelligence to come out, he had to be that close, and if the only way was to be part of that cell, yeah, then be it. That was sort of as close as we came to an acknowledgement.
Yeah, so that was the quote that I forgot earlier. Malcolm MacLeod said that if Bob Lambert may have crossed the line in order to get a result, but that if he did so in very, very, very good faith. He used this phrase, very, very, very good faith, on two separate occasions. And it was both times where he was really trying desperately not to say that he did think that that Lambert was inside the cell.
Yeah.
And we should go back in. It's only a short break. Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Cheers for joining. I'll do a longer recap at the end. Thanks for now.
Okay.